Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Bienvenidos. One more time. Here we are. Survived one more week. Barely. Hello, Peter. Welcome, Cantabrian. How are you doing, guys? How are you? I'm very excited for today. For today's stream. Not for anything too special, but just because what we are gonna be doing. So yes. Let's see. José Javier, hola, bienvenido al stream. Creo que es la primera vez que te veo por aquí, bienvenido. Solo una aclaración por si acaso, el stream lo hago normalmente en inglés porque la gran mayoría de la gente que mira el stream solo habla inglés o no habla español, algunos sí, pero pues normalmente lo hacemos en inglés para que sepas, pero bienvenido. Aquí preparado con mi nuevo, ¿dónde está? Here I'm prepared with my new Inquisition t-shirt for the subject at hand for today. Even though it's not the right orders, but yeah. Okay, José, muy bien. Perfecto. All right, so let's begin. Let's see. Everything is in order. All right. Oh, wait a second. Wait. I still need to open another file because, as you know, now with the new Photoshop, it tends to show previous files that I've been working with, and many of those are NDA. So yeah, I need to be extremely careful with Photoshop and streaming. So that's why I need to be closing and changing the screen. Menosi, hello, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Cantabrian. Bertie looks great, Miguel. His face genuinely gave me the creeps. Nice. Well, very happy to hear. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I feel like a schoolgirl talking about these things, but for some reason I'm very hyped with this character. I'm really enjoying it. Let's be back. So, all right. So to put a little bit of context, for those of you that didn't join last stream, and also because I want to discuss a little bit more than just showing what I'm painting, but explaining and going through all the mental and creative process that go through designing characters. So I want to focus a little bit on that on the stream as well, instead of just mindly painting and everything. So last stream I was a little bit lost because as some of you know, I'm in the middle of a craziness with my apartment, going through the renovations and blah 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 blah, boring stuff you don't want to hear about. But yeah, super stressed, very little time to do anything. So I was quite lost, and I decided to do some kind of sketching random stuff during the stream, but of course open for suggestions. And one of you mentioned, I can't remember who of you was, but suggested to trying to do the Primarch of the Iron Warriors, Perturabo. So once again, we are going to the fan art of Warhammer 40k route. So designing Perturabo as a demon prince, because it hasn't been portrayed anywhere as such, and I thought it was a pretty cool idea. So I did, while we were talking, so I did this sketch while we were talking about many other things. So this gave me the opportunity to kind of and talking to you guys and crossing different ideas, different alternatives and concepts regarding the character. And so after the stream I decided, I think I actually would like to do a full design of the character as a demon prince. I think it's challenging. I love the Iron Warriors. I like the character quite a lot. I mean, he's an asshole, but he's an interesting character. And the concept itself, I think, is very interesting, especially since it hasn't been portrayed. That from a design point of view, we have an open canvas and all the possibilities are completely open. So it's very, it's perfect for doing some kind of work of this kind. So challenge accepted. So happily, I had a little bit of time during this week, and I did work a little bit on already and on the concept, and I started with it. I haven't posted anywhere but in Instagram, so in case you don't follow me on Instagram, you haven't seen anything about it. So this is what we did during the last stream. So sketchy and just to bounce ideas, so nothing too specific. But then so this is what I managed to do since last stream. And while I'm gonna be talking now, I'm gonna put you, as I'm always doing, I'm recording the process, even though I'm not streaming. I'm recording everything just so I can put together a proper video later on for whenever the time is that I have the time to edit and put these things, so I can put it on the YouTube channel and do a proper video and with some explanations and everything. So I thought about showing you the process that I recorded while I talk and we bounce some ideas, so at least you get a little bit of context of how I did get here. And so let's see, let me just play here without sound. Yeah, there you go. And if I put it around here, So after last stream, I had several I was thinking about different aspects that I thought were going to be important for this character design. And normally, as I like to do whenever I start any type of design, is trying to think, okay, what are the main ideas, the main pillars, one could say, where I'm gonna be building this character around. So for me, it was several things. So first of all, to me, Perturabo, from a lore point of view, he is actually, or he's been portrayed as somebody that despises the chaos gods and everything related with demons, and he despises those that rely on them. So that is very interesting, right? Because if he finally, and the lore doesn't change, because of course things may change, but as far as we know, he, at the end of the Horus Heresy, he was elevated to Demon Prince, right? So the irony there. So okay, so we have that in one hand, that contradiction on the character. Okay, so I'm just gonna play another thing. another. Yeah. So we have that contradiction in one hand, right? So, okay, so he's an actual demon prince, but at the same time, he despises everything related with supernatural and magic and demons and stuff. So to me, that feels that, at least from a visual point of view, he should remain pretty close to what we know he looked like before becoming a demon prince. I mean, of course, we could argue a lot and it could be argued in different ways, but at least this is the direction that I'm taking. So I want to portray him not that different from how he was, but still a twisted version. So not going as crazy as Fulgrim, for example, or Angron, that they go full, mutations and things like that, but just kind of taking the essential of the character and kind of twisting that in some way. So that's one major pillar. Then another one is, okay, different type of ideas. And of course, everything that I'm talking about this, I'm more than open for suggestions and to have an open discussion with you guys. So if you have some ideas that you want to share, I will be more than happy to listen to them, and we can bounce ideas and see. Daniel, thanks for the subscription. Thank you. I don't know if you are watching, but thanks for the subscription, since that is from YouTube. So yeah, I was saying, yes, the bouncing idea. So I'm more than open for suggestions, and I want this process to be as open as possible. So things may change. Maybe you come up with some ideas that are fantastic, and yeah, etc. So let me just change. Let me just put it a little bit slower because they run at this rate. I'm okay, this is better. Yes. Yeah, so that's one idea. All right. So twisted. So taking some concepts or ideas related to Perturabo, right? So he is the Iron Lord, the Lord of Iron. So to me, immediately it came to mind. Henry Lynch, thanks for the follow, much appreciated. Welcome to the stream. So to me, that idea of the Lord of Iron would be like, okay, it could be actually fantastic if instead of being shown him as the normal iron warriors, like these metal color and look, it will be actually rust. It will be rust iron. Kind of going with this idea of everything that chaos touch is twisted, is corrupted. Like all the gifts given by chaos are a curse in disguise, right? So it's like, yeah, they give you this, but they take away this other thing. So I wanted to represent visually, or at least try to, let's see what happens by the end, to take some of these attributes and things that he would be proud of and kind of give it a slight twist where it is not exactly what he would hope to. So it still is not far from that concept, but in a twisted and corrupted way. So that's why I thought, like, okay, going with a rust iron would be perfect, because like in many levels it shows like corruption, decay, right? It's not polished iron, polished metal, but it's rusted, it's decaying. So I thought that would be a very nice touch that works in many levels from a conceptual point of view, but also visually, because also it offers a distinction from where he was before being a demon prince, right? So there is a change. There is a metamorphosis there happening. He doesn't look that way, and the whole color, that is a very big change in that regard. So that's one main thing why I decided to go this way. Then another one is like, okay, so what aspects or features of the character we could work with to play with this twisted version, this corrupted version of chaos. So I was thinking, okay, so remaining more or less how he looked before becoming a demon prince, and that's why he more or less the bulk of the body is of what we know he looked like. But then, okay, so cybernetics, augmentations, right? So all these type of things. So I want to take that idea of cybernetics and transhumanism type of thing and apply that with a twisted and demonic vibe, so to speak. We talked last stream about different approaches to represent the demonic take on the whole thing, and to me, I feel that I want to move away from this classic like longhorn type of demon and going more to something similar to Hellraiser, kind of that idea, at least, like vaguely. I mean, I'm not saying going strictly in that direction, but kind of having that in mind. So that's another pillar. And another one, important one, is regarding things or ideas associated with Iron Warriors, right? So it's machinery, it's industrial might, this type of thing. So trying to combine that with a character. And then a last pillar, which is kind of going deep within the personality and psyche of the character himself. Well, there is another one that I just forgot to mention. I'm gonna go through that. And is his pride. He's very proud. Proud. He's part of his reason to falling into chaos, right? Is his bitter jealousy towards his brothers, right? Because he's too proud to accept more humble positions and stuff like that. So I thought that would be an interesting take. For example, that's why I'm going with this type of spikes representing some kind of crown of a king, perhaps. So it's like his look will be some kind of reflection of this psyche of the character and his fears, perhaps his what's the word in English? His goals, like his intentions, and play with those. I think these lovely aspects from characters, and especially the trader Primarchs, that they thought they were fighting for something, right? And then they become exactly what they were fighting against and despising, right? So it's so kind of going with that idea. Let's play another one. So yes, kind of that's kind of the major things. Also regarding the head, I was thinking to try to show him less human as possible, obviously, because he's now supposed to be a demon prince, but kind of I'm gonna see if I can at least, let's see, the direction that I took so far was trying to make him look to some degree, or at least to suggest or imply the symbol of the Iron Warriors, so like a metal skull. So I want his face to kind of remind a little bit loosely to that. So that's another idea there, like working with visual metaphors and things like that. So yes, that's where we are. Let's sorry, I've been talking, trying to explain, and I haven't been catching the chat. Sorry about that. Let me catch it. Jose Javier, that Purdy looks like a corn berserker. It's awesome, but Perturabo belongs to Chaos Undivided, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you are right, and that's kind of the idea. Yeah, but I don't know about the berserker. I don't agree, but I mean, still, it's very early in the stage. But yeah, might be because of the colors. But once again, these colors are more related to the iron and rust, so to speak. So might be why. But I mean, again, anything, if I'm discussing ideas, I'm just like trying to have a constructive discussion. So yeah. Dislocated Design, hello, welcome to the stream, man. Novice Sky Art, hi, hello. New here, I think. I don't remember you from before, so welcome to the stream. Jose Javier, I think the same about that. Perturabo should remain recognizable even in demon form. I would change the armor color to look more like the Iron Warriors. That bronze and red reminds me too much to Angeron. Okay. Well, yeah, okay. So you were writing while I was explaining. And yeah, so once again, it's a different take into the kind of obvious, straightforward direction. That would be like you are suggesting going in that. But I think, at least for me, for now, I might change it. But for now, I feel that is at least more interesting, and it gives a little bit more substance on a conceptual level, right? Than just going plain metal color, because that's how the Iron Warriors look like. But a very good point in all of this is that regardless of how much I may twist things and how much interesting an idea might be, we will need to still add elements that still remind us and ground the character to who he is. And I'm aware of that, but that's something that I will try to apply later on in the process, or well, we'll see when. But I'm aware, and I agree that still there need to be some elements that kind of speak a little bit more openly and straightforward as Iron Warrior, for sure. Hellraiser, no, sorry, I forgot that there. Peter, one thing someone pointed out on Instagram was that he feels snarkly, so maybe show that he's skill precision. Well, I don't know about the nurgly thing. I don't know why. But yeah, I mean, I don't see the nurgle thing, to be honest. But yeah, I don't see any problems with that. But I mean, once again, I mean, we go into the problematic or the challenge that we need to merge. I mean, to try to make something different, but still ground him so he still remain Perturabo and on like a more classic, I mean, a recognition aspect to it. Hellraiser, hi, why not have both polished and corrugated metal for more breakup? Could be. Could be. Yeah. Henry Lynch art. Oxidized bronze could look cool too. Yes, but I mean, since I think since we are talking about the Iron Warriors, right? And in this case, Perturabo, he's the Iron Lord. I think that it's, I mean, he's not the Bronze Lord. You know what I mean? So I think that's, yeah. For some other type of character, I totally can see that as something super interesting. Jose Javier, maybe the waist cloth could be black or gray instead of red. Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yes, I mean, just bear in mind, of course, that all of this is like very work in progress, right? So it's gonna change. But yeah, the very good point. And once again, going back into these recognition elements. So yes. Hellraiser, Iron Warrior sometimes drift towards corn in lore, so it's okay, I think. Yeah, very true. But I mean, I think it is a good point, right? That these type of colors, red, browns, and brass or metal, kind of is like the classic colors of corn, right? So it is a good point there, but still, I mean, one thing as a how could I say, concept artist or in this context, like visual designer, so to speak, it is very important for me to try to think beyond the already established and taken for granted looks, because we are talking about a very big rich universe here, and we need to try at least when we are trying to create something new, we need to try to expand the view of that universe, right? So to expand visually what is possible and what is not, and if we continue within this kind of very narrow frame of how things look through the window of the tabletop miniatures, which is a very narrow window towards the whole universe, then it becomes very boring. I think it's something that we've been talking quite a lot during the stream, right? Just making this analogy between visual arts, in this case illustrations and visual designs, with what they have done with the novels, right? So that's something that is already established, but they had to go through the same type of process of challenging what it was already established through the lore for the tabletop game, and was expanding and creating new things, because of course the novels had a wider spectrum or frame into what that universe is, because of course the tabletop game is based and focused into battles and war, and of course everything, the whole IP turns around that. But in order for that universe to make sense and to work out of itself, it cannot be necessarily just that, right? So they had to expand and create new things within the medium of novels. So now it has already been done, and it shows that it's perfectly working, right? The visual side of things is lagging in that respect. And of course, it makes sense because of recognition of IPs and all these type of things. So there are good reasons for that, but still, it is something that need to be done. I think, and they are doing a good job. To be honest, within the official art, I mean, they are doing a good effort expanding and showing how rich the universe is, aside from the classic things that we all know, right? So, right, sorry for all this rant. I feel very passionate about all of this. What I was saying, yeah. So, in that regard, this is something that I feel a very important part in this process for this character. I want to create something a little bit different from the easy take, which would be like everybody saying, like, going with a classic color scheme for the Iron Warriors and all this type of thing. So of course it's a challenge, and like many of you are pointing out, it's lagging at the moment a little bit of that recognition element, but we're gonna work on that. Whew. My goodness, I don't know what I've been. I was just before this stream. I was watching the new announcements for the animated series from Warhammer through the Lavodeurus podcast on Twitch, and it was so funny with all the teasing that they've been doing, showing absolutely nothing for so much time. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit kind of in a very excited mode, so to speak. Fei Liu, thanks for the subscription. Oops. Let's see. Let me just. I mean, today you are on fire with the chat once again. I'll be like I'm today. Let's see where we were. Jose Javier, in that image, he reminds me a mix between Nurgle and Korn. Yeah, I don't. To be honest, once again, the Nurgle, I don't see it at all. The Korn, yes, I definitely see it because of the colors, the skulls, and all of that. I totally can see that. Pontus, hello, my friend. How are you? Hellraiser. By the way, Hellraiser, kind of funny that we are talking with that name, that we are talking as a art direction reference for the design, or inspiration at least, for this character of the Hellraiser films. Iron Warrior sometimes, you mentioned about, yeah, I read this already, sorry. Dislocated design, I like the armor a lot. He looks like a bunch of manufacturing systems which has stood up and began moving. The hanging skulls give him huge stature. Thank you. Yes, the skull thing, I'm actually doing it for that, to give a little bit of scale reference for the character. To really show that he's like insanely big, even for a Primarch. So a little bit that demonic thing, transformation. Mortas Champion, hello, welcome to the stream. It is Chaos Undivided, right? Then I guess a bit of Nurgle and Korn doesn't sound bad. Very true, very true. Technically speaking. The only thing, and at least that's my vision for the character, is that I would like to avoid any specific reference to any of the Chaos Gods because of his background, right? That he despises anything related with demons and chaos gods and all of that. Ironically, but that is the case. So I just want to show him more like a twisted, corrupted version of himself without referencing any of the chaos powers. At least that's my goal. Let's see if I manage. We'll see. And of course, everything that I'm saying now so far with all these ideas is still not written in stone. So yeah. Jose Javier, in the rust and the spikes maybe could remind to Nurgle in some way. Could be. I mean, also, by the way, I also remember to mention something, another aspect that I thought could be interesting to add into the whole design language is talking about the obliterator virus. Right, since it's allegedly spoken that it was created by the Iron Warriors, or the Iron Warriors use it quite a lot. So I thought it could be interesting to kind of suggest a little bit of that, at least as a visual cue to remind a little bit to that. So that's why I'm using a little bit of more organic angles and curves, instead of going so straight lines and more industrial. But again, it's a thin balance that I need to find, and yeah, we'll see. Pradamesh, hello, welcome. I don't remember seeing you around. Hello, welcome to the stream. If you have, sorry, maybe you are one of those lurkers, been around for some time, but didn't say anything. It's Lucian. Thanks for the follow. I'm just kidding. He looks a bit nurgly, I guess, because he looks a bit bloated. Could be, but I mean, to be honest, if you look at how we know he looked before being elevated to Demon Prince, he's already bulky as hell. And I'm just using the miniature that we have as a... let's see if... Yeah, if you can see here, this is the miniature, right? This is Perturabo miniature, so I just took his idea and general design, take it and just work with that as a foundation or a base. So here he's already super bulky. So yeah, honestly I don't see the Nurgle thing really, but yeah, might be me only. Esteban Salazar, eres lo máximo, Miguel. El más capo. Gracias. Cantabrian. Chaos is probably one of the best factions to think outside of the box in terms of what has been presented to us thus far in the lore. Mecha Demon's vibe is strong with this version, in my opinion. Thank you. And yes, I totally agree. And I'm happy that you are mentioning this, because yes, that's exactly kind of my kind of approach. And it's something, for instance, once again, if we go back to the novels, right? They, in hundreds of moments in many stories and novels, they talk about a myriad of demons. And not necessarily they are just like plague bearers or corn. I can't remember the name now. You know, like specific demons that we know through the miniatures. They talk about a lot of unspoken type of demons, like shapeless demons. I mean, it is a huge universe. So once again, we need to think out of the box, trying to expand things a little bit more than just like the 4 things that we know how things are represented. yeah, and I think it's fun, and especially since this is a fan art piece, we can do whatever, right? So since we don't have any restrictions in that regard, I think it is a must trying to come up with something different and think precisely out of the box. And by the way, I'm not saying that this is super original either. By the way, just to be clear, let's continue. I'm just gonna put from the beginning again the process of painting the thing. Also, this is from another route to the whole thing, but I was looking at some paintings from Harley Wood, this artist that I have here some images as reference, just for stylistic reasons that I absolutely love. So, and obviously you can see how heavily inspired this my image is so far, and I just thought it was like stylistically speaking super inspiring, and I thought it could I would like to give it a try, inspired by his art. See Martian, wow, hello, how long time no see. How are you doing? How are you? Here, as you can see, I'm just chatting and ranting Warhammer 40k nerd stuff non-stop. How are you? Very glad to see you around. Cantabria, I'm digging this direction. Thank you. Esteban Salazar, you have a very Craig Mullins like art, which I find pretty amazing. Love all your artwork, man. Thank you, Esteban. Thank you. Much appreciated. Well, and to be honest, I wish I could get close to Craig Mullins' level. But yeah, much appreciated. That's very kind. Jeffrey, I like it. Looks very unique. I will bet if you throw some hazard strikes onto his forehead, everyone will know who this is. Yeah, I agree. Those lines are a very powerful visual cue for the Iron Warriors. So I'm intending to try them somehow, somewhere. We'll see. But yeah, I think it is it is definitely a powerful visual cue to at least try to use it. I think, yeah. Alex Rail. Wow, lots of new names around. Hello, welcome. I don't know if it's the first time you are around here or you've been before, but just lurking around, which is totally fine. But yeah, a lot of new names. It is in Spanish. Todas las ilustraciones de Perturabo de Games Workshop son terribles, todo lleno de cables desde hace 15 años. Cierto. Por si acaso acabas de llegar, simplemente para que sepas, el stream es en inglés porque la gran mayoría de la gente no habla español. Entonces la lengua en común es el inglés. Entonces voy a intentar seguir haciéndolo en inglés. Espero que no te importe. Duncan Reed Art, thanks for the subscription. Thank you. So Alex, yes, that is true. But there is nothing we can do about that since we are, so we need to use that as a base and foundation and try to work with that. So of course I've been, well, as you will see here on the with the face, we'll start to do that. Let's see. Jose Javier, maybe that red light coming from the armor to his face could be green instead of red to look more cybernetic. Anyway, I don't know. It could be. Another thing that I still didn't have time to push through on the illustration is what I mentioned before about industry, about furnaces. I mean, Perturabo, he's known as a craftsman, right? As a great smith. So I'm trying to use this red light also as some kind of furnace fire within the armor, so to speak, so that shines through. So that is why I'm going with this red, and something that I'm gonna try to show a little bit more forward into the process. I still haven't had time to show that a little bit more clearer. Because and again also definitely it could be green for sure. And something that we can definitely try. So I will have that in mind. Yes. Alex, Games Workshop tiene el claro personaje de Perturabo. Cada novela sobre el Señor del Hierro le representa de una manera diferente. Cierto, muy cierto. Hellraiser, people say Nurgle because he looks a bit bloated. Yeah. I still don't see it, but I get what you mean. But I disagree. But yeah, I don't think he's bloated. He's just bulky. But yeah, again, it might be myself. I don't see it. Peter, I would suggest maybe more dark mechanicum. Yes, that also another element that is, I think, could be interesting to try. Since, for example, I think they are called the Dark Smiths from the Iron Warriors. Look a little bit. I think I have one here. You can see as reference. So I'm pretty aware of it, and yes, I think it's definitely something to have in mind as well. I'm thinking to add some of these Dr. Octopus type of tentacles things as well, at least to try. Pontu is doing good here, packing stuff. Got well for like one day, then I got another small cold sinusitis. That life with kids, I guess. Oh man, yeah. And especially, moving. It's so stressful, and yeah. I feel your pain, man. I really do. It's Lucian. Looks very good though. Just started reading Storm of Iron, so love it. Nice. Thank you. Thanks. And a pretty cool book as well. See Martin, hey man, finally caught the stream. Hopefully not at the end as last time. Yeah, no, you are fine. You got it at good time this time. Mortis Champion, have you worked with Thomas Elliot? Not directly, but I know him personally. And he's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we might have worked in something at the same time. I mean, like same projects, but doing different illustrations. But yeah, I know him personally, and he's awesome, and he's an absolutely a beast of an artist. See Martin, by the way, this is looking dope. Love the scale you went for Juggernaut like. Yeah, thank you. Alex Slotin, thanks for the thanks for the subscription. Okay, I'm catching up with chat. So once I do, I will start painting for real instead of just talking. Is Lucian furnace fire powered by chaos? Yes, exactly. And that's also a concept that we have seen already pretty widespread in chaos, right? And especially regarding demon engines from the Iron Warriors, right? So I thought that this is a very fitting theme for him to represent. Luis Ramon, hi Miguel, how are you? So happy to see you here. Amazing Perturabo. Thanks, man. Luis, always a huge pleasure to have you here. So welcome and thank you once again, Luis. Luis as well. Nice to see Perturabo as a smith in a huge forge, an insane hammer. I like so much the smoke. Thank you. I mean, in that regard, I haven't done anything new than just using the elements that already existed on the design from the Horus Heresy that we know. I mean, that's established as canon. He looked that way, right? This guy here on the corner. Can you see it? No. This guy here. So this is Perturabo. This is the miniature for him, and he has a big hammer. So I just took that, and then of the thing with the smoke. Once again, going back with this forge industry feel, dirty, polluting. So yeah. Jose Javier, or even that red light could remain there, but in the other half of the face could have just a little green light to combine with Craftsman with the cybernetics. Could be. At the end, I think it's gonna be a matter of trying and exploring. So yes, definitely that is a good idea to try. But I'm seeing already that we cannot put too many directions of this kind, because it can make the design a little bit confusing and all over the place. And sometimes you need to make certain choices into, okay, I take this direction, even though this other idea can be pretty cool, but yeah, so we'll see. I think it's definitely something cool to try. But I start to feel that I will have to go either one or the other one, but not combining both. But at the same time, I can do very small, tiny details, and I'm gonna use the face for that about cybernetics. Well, and maybe these tentacle things, but yeah. Diego Mineiro, maybe patterns in the armor resembling forge worlds as seen from space, like webs connecting circles, maybe roads connected to hive cities, or yeah, that's a cool idea. Maybe some kind of yeah. Yeah, I like the thing with the patterns. Yeah, good, very nice idea. Jose Javier, like if he had two different displays for the battlefield. Yeah, I see what you mean, but yeah, once again, yeah, we'll see. But good suggestion. Peter, hey, we're all throwing ideas out because we like the design. Looks great. Oh yeah, well, of course. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know if I'm maybe sounding like too defensive or anything. I hope not, because I'm definitely not. I mean, that's kind of that's one of these things that I don't like about this medium. But of course, it is nature of this medium. But it is what it is about streaming. Is that it's only me speaking and you are chatting, and it makes any conversation a little bit more difficult or skewed to one side, in this case mine, because I'm the one speaking. But I'm super happy we're having this conversation, and I'm really appreciating all your suggestions and ideas. And sometimes even if I'm not if I'm discarding certain ideas, or sometimes it is, even if they are discarded, they still are giving some good points. For example, like you were talking about the thing with putting him as classic iron metal, and gray metal as a iron warrior instead of brown. And I said, yeah, but I want the rusted thing. Still, one of the main things there is the lack of recognition, right? And I think that is a very good point. But everything, I mean, any suggestion, any feedback, it's always very welcome. So yeah, great guys. Round of applause for all of you. Yeah. Let's see. Jose, sorry, I'm excited because I love your style and I love see you in credits like sorry. That's completely jumped from one paragraph to another. Sorry, haha. I'm excited because I love your style and I love that design for Perturabo anyway. Yeah, I mean, once again, thanks a lot, guys. I cannot say enough that I really appreciate this type of bouncing ideas, and if anything, regardless of the limitations of this format of streaming, as I was saying, that it's me just speaking and all of this, but still it is fantastic that we can at least having a more organic discussion, and along the way we go with the process, and especially since it is such an open canvas and we can take any direction. So it's fantastic. I'm really liking it and really appreciating. So please don't stop. Mortis Champion, you can do a live on Discord. Yeah, the thing is, I'm such a noob with Discord that I have heard that that's a possibility, but I'm not sure how to organize that. I will have to investigate because is that limited to a certain amount of people, or everybody can join, or yeah, and is that compatible with streaming? Because another thing is like, yeah, maybe not everybody wants to join on the Discord server, which once again, in case you don't know, we have a Discord server that everybody can join. Dele Mala, I want to ask about your Love, Death, and Robots project you worked. I mean, I see you in credits list in art department, but you didn't include in character artist. How is this category work in the industry? Well, I'm not sure. I mean, there's no universal title in this industry. And well, I mean, across all entertainment industry, just to be a little bit more wide in scope. Neither in, well, maybe it's a little bit more standardized in video games, ironically, than in films and stuff like that. Because the process can be so different from one project to another and demand many different roles or create certain specific roles for certain specific projects. That yes, there are certain roles that they are universal across all projects, but sometimes, yeah, it depends. So, and I haven't checked the whole credits of the series, so I'm not sure. But without having seen the credits myself, I would say that perhaps what they refer there to character artist is referring to the 3D modelers that are modeling the characters in 3D. Because normally that's how it's associated, that work with that title in video games, and certainly in video games, but also in more vaguely perhaps in films and stuff like that. So normally when you see, but once again, I mean, just take things with a grain of salt. Whenever you see in any credits or titles of anybody that is a character artist, what it means is it's somebody that model characters in 3D. Not that is designing characters. I mean, one thing doesn't exclude the other. I mean, you still can model characters and still design characters, but from a title point of view, that's how it is. Normally, the people that create that design characters is concept artists, and sometimes they are given or shown with that title as concept artists. Sometimes they are referred to concept designers, even though it is exactly the same work. Sometimes they don't specific say if it's a concept artist or a concept designer, but just include them into a little bit more blurry sack where they put everybody there in art department, and that could be many things. So that's what I can say without having checked the specific credits for that episode. So yeah, but I would assume that that's what it is. Hellraiser, by the way, this would be so awesome animated. Have you seen the recent 3D rendering of Ulfnir? No, I have not. I have not. But you know what? If you join on the Discord server, it will be, if somebody can be kind to post on the chat the Discord server link. If you could, we have a section there as inspiration and sharing stuff. So if you would be kind enough to share that on on the Discord, so that would be awesome because I haven't seen it. Jose Javier, and just imagine if you have to pull all ideas maybe at the end, but that would look really weird. Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes, like I was saying, when it comes to design, you need to, at the end, you need to take a direction and go with that. And that sometimes sadly means that you need to discard other ideas that they can be very cool as well. But yeah. Mortis Champion. I mean, in Discord, you must have something like a subscription in order to have a better stream quality. I see. Once again, I mean, Mortis Champion. I don't know. I haven't investigated yet, and I am not that experienced with Discord in that regard. The other thing to have in mind as well is that I'm planning to start with my personal projects and use Patreon to support it, and use the Discord server as well to support it. And I'm still trying to figuring things out. So maybe that's an option for the Patreon. For the Patreon supporters to offer that on the Discord server. I don't know, but it's a cool idea, and I will have to investigate a little bit more about how that works. Luis Ramon, I know that is a character and not no illustration, but would be amazing. Sorry if someone suggests before and I did not listen. That represent working between towers, builds, and huge cranes and chimneys. See your ideas and decisions about him and are amazing, but putting in this background with cranes and he towering all emphasize his size as a demon, in my opinion. Yeah, that would be an awesome illustration for sure. That would be great. But I guess that would be for another illustration. Now I'm trying, like you are saying, yes. Now I'm just trying to focus on the character design. But I haven't shown here, but I put a space marine here for scale, perhaps. And this is not written in stone yet in terms of scale, but as for the size of the skulls, that could work. So maybe I include him on the on the illustration at the end. I don't know. Cardboard Box TV. Hola, Miguel. It's Botbox on Instagram. Hello, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. How are you? Lucius. Hello, Lucius. How are you? Loving how this Perturabo design is shaping up. Thanks, man. Juan Toledano. Hello, everybody. Looking great, that Perturabo. Thanks, man. And welcome to the stream. All right. Well, now I managed to go through all my rants and going through all the chats. So time to paint. Let's see. I need to start as well recording. All right. So as you can see with the face, for instance, I'm trying to go with this more cybernetic approach. like suggesting some implants and of course connections with cables, since that's how he was before. So yeah. There were several subjects that I thought about that I wanted to talk on stream, but since I started and I've been so passionately talking about this whole thing, I completely forgot about what I wanted to talk about. But for example, I know that this is very much away from a more classical approach of how I would envision him, this kind of crown around him. But I really like it in precisely because of that, because it's a little bit different and a little bit more organic in some way, but it feels like a piece of shrapnel to some degree. I don't know, I like it, and I like this idea of kind of hinting towards his ego, that he feels that he's a lord, he's a king. So now that he is he's been elevated as a demon prince, now he really can show who he is, to show his true nature, that he was born to rule and to do great things, in contrast to what he thought he was being treated by the emperor and his brothers, right? Just like downplaying him constantly. So now he is what he always thought he could be, just like a lord, a king. That's kind of at least the idea that crossed my mind. Also, another aspect is that regardless of how much I need to try to maintain the original look of things of him, he's still been for 10,000 years, so to speak, taking away all the weirdness of time with the warp and everything. But yeah, 10,000 times in the Eye of Terror. So he would be extreme. I mean, things need to look twisted and changed from how they were, even though the original foundation is there. So Have any of you seen the announcements of the animated series for Warhammer? Juan Toledano, I know you were there during the Labo de Horus podcast. What do you thought about it? I thought it was hilarious with all this showing nothing for such a long time. It was like such a tease and nonsense. It's good that at least they showed something at the end, a little bit more meaty and juicy. But I mean, I'm still even considering if they kind of did it as a joke, really, to kind of piss off people for real. I don't know. Cardboard box. I'm good. How are you? Pretty good. Busy as hell and stressed with many things. But everything is for good reasons. So it's all good. So here I'm trying to kind of demonize the, in case that a word even exists in English. I'm trying to demonize his weapon, his mighty hammer. And I'm thinking that that one aspect of his demon ascension consequence is that some things are gonna change in a direction of which that he despised from his brothers before, right? So to play with that irony of things that he despised everything related with demons and stuff like that, and there he is, that he end up becoming exactly the same thing. I mean, it's just like it plays so well with this tragic side to the story of these characters. Peter, I'm off, everybody. Gonna baptism to attend. Have a great week. Bye-bye, Peter. Have a good one. Thanks for joining and passing by. Bye-bye. Jose Javier, from a close view, that face looks awesome. Thank you. Still very sketchy. Many things to do yet, but I'm actually pretty happy myself as well with it so far. Cantabrian, Miguel, what is your average canvas size, would you say? Poof. I don't know. They tend to be pretty big because I hate I hate pixelation, and especially in a character this big. As you might have noticed, that I tend to like to put a lot of focus and attention into the faces, and I hate that if I just zoom in, that it loses resolution because it's not too big. So they tend to be pretty big. I can show you in this case. Oh my goodness. So yeah, around 8,000 pixels in this case. I mean, it varied greatly, so I don't have a specific size. But to me, my rule of thumb of what I like to do is that it is if I zooming into the face and it loses sharpness, then it needs to be bigger. Yes. Lucius, I was there. It was very long reveal process. Yeah, right, Sam. But not only long, because I mean it can be long, but it can be very cool. It's just that all that process of not showing anything, just like voices and noises, and even sometimes just like steps. It was just like it was such a troll. I don't know what they were thinking. Seriously. That, I mean, it's like making people waste their time. I mean, just imagine that you are so hyped that you decide to book that time for this big reveal because you are very excited, and you pull down something to do that, to look at that reveal, and they show not, and they do that. I mean, this, yeah. Pretty bad in my opinion. I yeah. I mean, I'm just laughing because I thought it was hilarious of how big of a troll that was. Yeah. And I don't know if it's intentional or just, yeah, it's difficult to say. But aside from that circumstantial thing of the community event, I'm very hyped for the series, especially the ones that are more stylized. Because to be honest, I'm a little bit weary of all the 3D ones that are trying to be more realistic. Because by trying to make things more realistic, they can end up, I mean, it's this theme that we've been talking so many times about, the challenges and dangers that comes with the Warhammer 40k IP. And is that, once again, you cannot try to represent things exactly as they are on the tabletop miniatures because they look silly. So of course you can have a pass, and it's completely fine if the whole style of that representation is stylized, is cartoony, because then it is fine. It from an art direction point of view, it can be explained and it is fine. But if you are trying to aim for realism, and it tend to happen, or it feels like, except the Blood Angels ones that is more stylized, so I can give a break with that one. But with the other ones, if they are trying to go realistic, they need to do it very well, and not just. And once again, I mean, let's let's give if let's let me give you an example of what I mean. So I'm not talking in just straightforward visualizations of, let's say, a bolter looks roughly this way, you know, and he has it has this and that, and it's like the bolters need to be correct, they need to be this way or whatever. But, and this is where the problem starts, is like if you start to apply the same and I'm sure, and I know as well, I have to say that I might be not on a very small number of people with this opinion, but if you just translate exactly, replicate exactly the proportions and size of the designs from the tabletop, things are gonna look silly and ridiculous and not realistic, but because they are toys. So a bolter, you would have to make a translation, so to speak, into a more realistic format than just taking exactly the look of the tabletop designs on screen. A great example of how you do that properly is, for instance, the Astartes films or short films, right? You still have bolters. They manage to to remain and conserve those iconic features or overall visual cues, so they are recognizable as bolters, but they are not exactly as they are on the tabletop or some of the more stylized illustrations, because they would look like toys. And those bolters look like actual weapons that somebody for real could be holding. So you understand now what I'm trying to maybe explain poorly, but yeah. So because of those challenges, and because of the challenge that means doing creative work for a company that has a zealot type of attitudes towards their IP, and they want everything to look exactly like the tabletop game, they can run into these problems where actually they make a disservice to the IP in that sense, because you cannot take serious a world where things look like toys. I mean, a little bit like you cannot take serious a world of I don't know, let's say Final Fantasy, right? Because they have this ridiculously big sword, just to put an example or something. You know, there are certain things that remove you from realism, that it could be within the logic of the world or whatever, but still they are not believable in a realistic way. And the problem with the 40K universe is that if you don't try to approach it in that way, it will fall into the realm of cheesy, of ridiculous, of toy-like, and that's not really being fair to the IP. Funny enough, we're talking about originally toys, right? So, but you get what I mean. So that's why I'm a little bit scared about those 3D animated episodes where they are probably aimed for realism. And for instance, the one with the Dark Templar, the Black Templar what I have seen so far, it just, to me, I mean, I don't like it that much. Don't get me wrong, I really appreciate it, and I'm not shitting on it. I'm just talking about what I personally appreciate most. I mean, another example where it shows how bad that becomes when you do it bad and falling into those traps is our beloved Ultramarines film. and even even in their case, they even fail to represent the toys properly. So yeah. Cardboard box. I just finished the Castlevania anime Netflix. Crazy good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I enjoyed it as well. It's I really enjoy the fact that it's very gore. That they go with no fear of going to gore. I really enjoy that, actually. It's clearly a series not for kids, of course. So yeah, that's why I'm really looking forward for the more stylized, cartoony series, because I can forgive all those realism problems. Lucius, the Blood Angels same visions of Horus was pretty badass. I was so hyped when that happened. Yeah, totally. I was the same. That I thought that was such a cool take, and with that one, I'm not sure, but I think it's the guy behind or directing the whole thing is the guy from Hellreach that did the fan art thing on YouTube. So I think it's gonna be cool. And that one is a little bit more stylized as well, so it's not trying to go full realism. So I'm fine. For example, I mean, this is a more professional comment here, but on that one, when the Terminator Captain just throw the assault bolter on the floor, and it sounds like made of aluminium or something. It doesn't sound anything heavy, right? So there are so many things that you need to be so careful, and for instance, that's, I mean, all these tiny things that sometimes are difficult to point, but that were done brilliantly in every single shape and form is on the Astartes short films. Siama managed to do all of it not just the visuals, the animations, the music, the cinematography, the sound design, everything perfectly to do justice to the universe, into our kind of semi-realistic depiction of it, right? So and that's why his work has become such a reference, because he's the one that has understood how it has need to be done. And I mean, when I've been talking to him, he's something that he understand. I mean, all these things that we are talking about here, that is something that he's also very adamant, and that he understand perfectly. You know, that you cannot translate things exactly as they are from the game. Not visually, not sound. I mean, yeah. Jose Javier, to see Forge Breaker in this corrupted condition, it's so sad. What would do Ferus? Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm just. I don't know what I'm doing. I just thought that perhaps it could be. Like I said, I'm trying to demonize the weapon. And in that way, it needs to be perverted, right? From what it was originally. So it has some kind of hail fire or something on the inside. I don't know. dislocated design. The titles for the animation parading through much of that stream really was the height of minimal reveal. Yeah, totally. I like the Angels of Death segment, but that do need more polish. Yeah, I agree, but I think that's how it's gonna be. So that's what I mean, that I think they went for a style that is like a little bit more rough 3D. So I think that is intentional, and that means that they can get away with more things. So I feel that is intentional, and I see what you mean. It's like a more rough, unpolished stage of 3D and also animation and everything. But I mean, thinking of the Hellreach series on, I feel that it's a little bit kind of the same thing, right? It's like a very stylized and rough thing, which, I mean, it's more than enough to talk. I mean, to tell a story, but it's without the constraints of trying to be as polished as possible. So I think it's more of a stylistic choice. So I'm kind of okay with it. Once again, the problem I have is when they try to go full rendered and realistic, and then of course they fail. I mean, you only can do that if you are very confident that you can pull it off. And that is very difficult and takes a lot of work. I mean, just to give you an example, the episode of Love, Death and Robots that I worked with, the one of snow in the desert, which is that kind of approach, right? So it's like fully realism to the highest degree, and it's mind-blowing, right? The level of detail and fidelity of everything, and everything looks so real, and so, but it is an insane amount of work to do. It's not easy at all. Not only you need time and money, of course, but also you need to have the talent, because that's something that you see quite a lot, people arguing in many different arguments. For example, with video games, when people say, yeah, but they just needed more time. The same thing with films. They needed more time. They had so much money to do this. How couldn't they come up with a better idea? It's like, well, sometimes money and time is not enough. You also need the right people with the right talent to do it. And that is not an easy thing to come across as well. And that's why sometimes budgets doesn't equate to quality, neither in films or video games, because there is a lot of talent involved, or it needs to have a lot of talent involved. And yeah. And to be honest, I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm just trying to come up with some kind of pattern that looks interesting, but I'm kind of failing at it. But yeah, it's a matter of looking and trying. But yeah, that's something, for example, about this thing about talent or lack of talent. I see that quite often with video games. People sometimes, very rightfully so, complain about things in video games that they are not working, or the vision is not the proper one, or things doesn't work the way they should, or things doesn't look as good as they should be because in this other video game look how they manage. And yeah, sometimes it's good with criticism for good reasons and well deserved. But sometimes what I feel is that people tend to take things for granted as well, and as if they are an easy thing to do. And sometimes it's just the honest explanation is that the team involved doing that project didn't have the talent to pull it off, to meet the expectations of people, because it is not an easy thing to do. And public in general, it's kind of spoiled in that sense. And again, some of the criticisms sometimes are very, very right, but sometimes people start to complain with certain things, like it's like, but man, you don't realize the humongous challenge that is to do certain things and to pull it off in so many levels, and people just feel like they are like of course it's difficult to talk about this subject generalizing because it cannot be applied to everything. And yeah, so in those situations that is applies, which is not always, plenty of examples where, once again I repeat, the criticism is more than deserved and very accurate. Sometimes I feel like the public in general, first, they don't understand at all what is game development about and how it really works. They just throw around some fancy technical words, but they have absolutely no idea how really game development works. And they take for granted things. So sometimes the public behaves a little bit like a spoiled child, without actually thinking of, oh wow, the thing is that, yeah, maybe this doesn't look as good as something else, but just look at the scope of what they were trying to do, and that wasn't easy, or it is not easy, and at least they tried, or I mean, sometimes certain video games, they are trying to achieve absolutely almost magical things, even to that level, and people just take it for granted. When it's an achievement of insane level. But of course, again, difficult subject to talk about without specific examples. I hate generalizing because it always lead to errors and people interpreting the wrong thing. And of course, I mean, and all this discussion is very has many different phases, and again, in some cases the criticism is well deserved, and because it involves a lot of marketing bullshit and false expectations created by the developers themselves, etc. But I'm not talking about those things. Just to be clear. And definitely industry suffers a lot from that as well. So that's a big problem. the titles for the animation project pioneering. No, I read about that already. Cardboard Box TV. Where can I learn about Warhammer 40k lore? I personally would recommend you Looting. A YouTube channel. Looting. If you look for this name on YouTube, that's I think he, in my humble opinion, I think he's the best when it comes to explaining lore of 40k. If you try to do photoreal 3D versions of what is on the tabletop, you quickly realize just how many areas will lack detail and function. The design process really needs thought into it. Totally agree, Cantabrian. Yeah, that's the thing. It's the miniatures are toys and they are made to work on that scale. But but they need to be translated into something different if you are trying to make a realistic representation of them. Mortal Champion, the Ultramarines movie, lol. Yes. What a piece of art that is. From hell. I'm actually thinking of watching it again. Just for the laughs. Because it has come up so many times on stream already. And I'm pretty sure that I will start, if I at the end decide to watch it again, I will start watching it and I will not be able to finish it. Just like few minutes and it's like, yeah, no, it wasn't worth it. I don't want to go through the pain again. Once was enough. Lucius, yeah, when I started drawing Marines for the first time, I used the models as a hard reference. Was not a good idea. Yeah, I mean, the miniatures can be good as reference in terms of certain elements to know, like an approximation of how things are put together and stuff. But when it comes to especially with proportions, you should not use miniatures. That's something that I spent some time talking about on the famous tutorial that that I'm working on. I promise I'm working on it. It will happen. But yeah, I talk about that actually. How you should be avoiding using the miniatures as a reference when it comes to proportions, because it's very misleading. Well, I'm not sure if I'm liking this. I don't. Oop. I kind of like this area here, but I don't know really how to make it. Maybe. Lucius, Mortas, we don't speak of such things here. Well, I think I broke that taboo already. Liz Ramon, wow, I really love this corrupted hammer. I don't know if this lava pattern will work in his head phase. Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure. Just like bouncing, exploring alternatives. But yeah, not convinced either. I keep going to this like opening here, but Luis, sorry Miguel, guys, I have to go. Amazing work as usual. See you in Discord and stream for sure. Stay safe. Good night. Bye bye, Luis. Thanks a lot for joining. Like always, a pleasure. Lucius Lutin, the best of the best. Yes, he is. Yeah. I think he's definitely the absolute best in interpreting and having very how could I say grounded discussions about lore and what it really means. And yeah, I mean, for the most parts, one of the reasons why I enjoy his content is because because I feel that I share a lot of his way of interpreting the lore. And once again, that you cannot take everything literal in a lot of cases, and yeah. Lucy, do not subject yourself to such things. Yeah, but also it can make you stronger, or yeah, or maybe damage your retina and brain. But it's like it has become like to this mythical level of how bad it is, and it has been such a long time since. So there is this tiny part of me that kind of feel tempted to just look at it and see, was it really that bad? Could it be just me? How bad was it? I just want to double. Cantarin, I think I have seen one really good example of power armor in motion, where you get the sense of inertia and weight in the armor plates. Subtleties like that can add a lot. Yeah, totally. And once again, going back to Astartes, I think he did such an awesome work with that. Pontus, bye man. Take care, rest, and good night, and thanks. Take care. Luis, thanks a lot again, man. Much appreciated. Take care. Lucius. Nietzsche's quotes are not enough to justify watching Ultramarines again. Yeah, could be. Could be. Also, the question could be like, is it still available to be watched somewhere? Maybe in a darkened vault, 1 kilometers deep in Earth, away from the eyes of the public. I mean, this is something that I haven't told, but when they released that film, The Ultramarines, I was still working at Ubisoft, and everybody was so excited that on the studio we decided to join after work, and we all went into a conference room on the studio and took something for dinner and watch everybody just to watch the whole film together. And the result of that, it was like everybody was so pissed and so insanely outraged about how bad it was that we kind of had some kind of moment of outrage, and everybody said, we are going to take a scene and we are gonna redo it, and show everybody how it's done. like a fan base thing, but we are gonna do it. We are gonna do it properly. And at the end, and we were adamant about doing it. I mean, everybody was like, and I'm talking about people from the cinematic teams. I mean, like a lot of very talented people, and we were all like, yes, we are gonna do it. I even did some designs for characters for that kind of reshoot of one of the scenes, because I mean the rage, I mean, as fans, that everybody felt like, oh, this cannot be this, how they dare to do something that bad. And at the end, everybody just we were this close to do it, but some people got scared because of copyrights things. So I mean, I'm now with time and retrospect, I know there wouldn't have been any issue, so we could have perfectly have done it. And the thing is that on that work that we were planning, a lot would come to also doing storyboard, because the language of the cameras on the film is so bad as well. It's like so bad. Everything is horrible. So it's not just merely the 3D and the designs, but also the cinematography, the language of cinematography of the film is so bad. So yeah, we were this close to do, of course, just as a scene, a sequence, because it will take too much time. Lucius, you can watch it here in glorious 1080p. What do you mean? What do you mean that I can watch it here? That on stream? Just to watch it on stream? I think that would be maybe problematic because of copyrights. Which that would be pretty funny, right? that everybody that they would be adamant of trying to protect that that piece of crap of being played. But yeah, but still. Ah, okay, Lucius. Okay, you are, of course, you are on YouTube. Okay, yeah, it is on YouTube available. All right. Yep, I didn't show on the chat, or maybe I lost it. Yeah, so for some reason I had a brain fart there, and I thought you, for some reason, that I was thinking about Twitch TV, but of course you are on YouTube. So it is available on YouTube, all right. Don't you feel the temptation? You know you want it, Lucius. You know you are very adamant that you don't want to watch it, but I start to feel that you might be not that far from wanting. Hmm? I think just like a wild thought here, but I think it is on the level of so bad that at some point Games Workshop would need to release a statement to say sorry to the community that they did that, because the most outrageous thing is knowing how protective of their IP Games Workshop is. I mean, if there is a corporation that is protective of their IP, that is Games Workshop. It is insane from a creative point of view, and I know from experience because I have already worked in several projects where they have been licensed by Games Workshop to work with their IPs, right? And it is not an easy thing because of that fact, because they are extremely protective. And then it comes this subject that I'm talking so much about how to reinterpret the how much margin there is to reinterpret things, because sometimes the issue is not that the artist or the creatives behind that don't want to do it, is that Games Workshop is behind with the hammer saying no, it doesn't look like the game, or with the miniatures. And yeah, so knowing that of how protective they are, and that and of course we have plenty of examples where they just license their IP to people that really didn't know what to do, right? I mean, there are plenty of examples with video games, right? Like absolute garbage video games and stuff like that. So it is not an uncommon thing, but still, as big as it is that was the first audiovisual content exclusive done for Warhammer 40k, not for a video game or anything like that. How they chose the people that were going to do that, I mean, it's just like, it's beyond me, because it's so amateurish. It's so yeah. And there is not a single aspect of that film that can be said, yeah, you know, that what I mean, that part was kind of okay, I can't forgive them. That part, this shot here, I mean, nothing, zero, null, zero. Not character designs, not special effects, no modeling, no animation, no voice acting. I mean, that's kind of one of these things. They have good actors making the acting, but they are directly so poorly that the result is awful. No good editing, no good pace. The shots are, I mean, nothing. Everything is so bad. Cantarian, don't tempt him, Frodo. Yes, exactly. Yes. uh, Not such thoughts have crossed my mind, I assure you. Yeah, sure, Lucius. You are not gonna fool me. Mm-mm. How could you know that it was available in 1080p on Facebook? Oh, sorry, on Facebook, on YouTube, if you were already thinking about taking a peek? Just a tiny peek. Few seconds at least. Nobody would notice that you did. Pierre, Alexis, sorry, just joined. Which movie is that bad? The Ultramarines animation is one of the worst pieces of filmmaking ever done, and that will ever be done in history of mankind. Oh, the old one. Yes. And Pierre, I think you are very you are being very too kind, saying that that was a deception. I mean, my eyes almost bleed of how bad it was. I mean, you just joined now, but I explained before that I watched it with some colleagues of mine by then. And by that time, I was on the cinematic team in the studio on Ubisoft. So people that work with cinematics and stuff like that. And the level, I mean, not like, that was deceptive. Well, I wasn't expecting it this, it's like, yeah, okay, well, no. I mean, it was rage on the room. People were outraged of how bad it was. Like, how can they publish this? How, I mean, and if you think about it, it's kind of insane that well, I don't know, maybe I'm obsessed in that sense, because I keep falling back about these films, but that we are spending so much energy talking about a film like that. But could you imagine? Okay, just hear me out. Just some material for nightmares. Could you imagine if most of all the animated stuff that they are announcing with so much pomp and circumstance, because that's exactly what they did with the Ultramarine film. They were building such a hype with all of that. It's like, could you imagine if it's that bad? Once again, the same people are behind it. Could you? I mean, the internet will explode if that was the case. Lucius, I looked for it on your behalf. Oh yeah, sure you did. I will admit I looked at the opening 30 seconds. That film is a little bit like the corruption of the warp. If you just look at it a little bit, you are already tempted, tainted. So now your soul is lost. Why not just to have a longer peak? Maybe they were going for the Room movie idea, where they made something so bad, people loved how bad it was and accepted it as such. That would, even if they tried to do it that bad, they would have failed. because there are some things that, yeah, even if they try to, that's the thing. If they would have tried to make it in purpose, they would have make it better. That's the sad part. I wonder what has happened with the people that worked in it. Maybe some of them are fantastic artists, and great professionals. And maybe some of these issues has nothing to do with the people working on it, but it was due to interference by, producers and stuff like that they because that could be totally the case, right? That they meddle around the process so much that they really fucked everything up, even though I kind of doubt it, but maybe there is something of that. But yeah, regardless, would they hide that they worked in it? I know I would. If in some way I would have been involved in that project, I would kind of try to erase it from my my professional history from the records. Lucy, some of the comments are defending the movie. My faith in humanity has taken a serious blow. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that is. I share your your feelings. My goodness, if there is people that seriously may consider to defend that film. Well, I'm not satisfied with the hammer, but I'm gonna leave it for now and move to something else because I'm tired and I don't think I will manage to do anything for it. Let's do some skulls. Yay. Who knows? Maybe the people that are defending the movie are some of the people that worked in it. Cantarian. Well, the Inquisition will be busy if that happens. Oh yes, yeah. If they are that bad, all the yeah. Yeah, if that happened, I'm calling a raid to Games Workshop HQ. Yeah, I mean, if they become that bad, which of course it cannot possible. It can possibly be, but if that was the case, yeah, I would be concerned for the safety of some of the people involved on Games Workshop, for real. Because also, to be honest, the fan community has grown exponentially since that time, funny enough. See, Martin, the movie Room was such a bad movie, they had to issue a book about it explaining the movie. Yeah. Yeah, there are definitely there are plenty of absolutely nightmarish bad films around. There is another film that I think it has the honor in my book, at least, of being the only single film that I have gone to the theater and I have walked away because it was so bad. I mean, even Battle Earth, you know which film that is, right? This with John Travolta, hard with the not the crazy people from the Scientologist thing. Even that film, which is also on this level of genius of how bad it is, even on that one, I stayed through the whole thing because I thought it was a comedy. I genuinely, at some point, I actually thought this is a comedy. It has to be. All right, so even that film, I stayed from start to finish. But this other film, that is the only one that I left. I cannot remember how it's called, but it was something about traveling on time, that they go hunting dinosaurs and they have to go through this path and they cannot move away from it, because if they do, things are going to change in the timeline, and when they go back to their present, things will have changed. And they actually think something happened with a butterfly or something, and that triggers a change through time, and when they go back, everything is just changing. And I don't remember the name, but the film was so bad in every single level. I couldn't stand it. I had to. I mean, it would be fantastic if any of you kind of rings a bell and know what film I'm talking about. But I couldn't stand it. I had to go. It's just like I felt like I was losing precious time of my life with that garbage. And to this day is the only film I have left the theater because I couldn't stand it. Lucius, I quote, I actually really liked it, this movie. Yes, the animation looks like it was made in the 80s, but it was still a really enjoyable movie. 9 likes, 13. Well, you know, there is this thing called sadomasochism, Lucius. So I think that might be that would be a way to understand that comment. Duncan read art, the butterfly effect. Could be. I don't know. There was something to do with that concept on the film, but I don't remember. You know, the one of the problems is that I saw that film back in Spain, and in Spain they have these brilliant tradition of completely changing the titles of films to something that has nothing to do with it. Like, to give you an example, I don't know, like Die Hard films. In Spanish, if you translate the Spanish title to English, would be like a Jungle of Glass or Crystal Jungle. So I think in Spanish, the name of this film that I can't remember must have been something different from the original one. So that makes things more difficult. But yeah, it was a film about that they can travel through time, and people go to the dinosaur period just to hunt, or which wouldn't make any sense through the whole logic of the film. Or just look around, but if they change something, yeah, that will trigger, like I said. And when they get back, things start to change gradually into like a weird world, and yeah, I don't know. So bad. Yeah, bad movies make you lose brain cells. Yeah, for sure. Yes. I think for me there are few films that for me are on that level. One is Battle Earth. Another one, obviously, the Ultramarine films is so bad. Another one is this one that I'm referring to, which I don't remember the title. And another one is I believe it's called Beowulf, but not the animated film that was done, but another one on the 90s or early 20s with damn, what's his name? Christopher Lambert, you know, the guy from the Highlanders. And yeah, so Beowulf, that one also is so bad. That again is like it kind of reached this level where you start to seriously consider if that was a comedy or not. Like it was like a twist, like this myth of Beowulf, but they tried to combine fantasy medieval visuals with some kind of post-apocalyptic science fiction elements, but that in such a poor way that like it feels just like a comedy, like some kind of like the Red Dwarf type of thing. Yeah, I don't know. Have you guys seen any of these films that I'm talking about? Conrad, awesome. Thank you. I don't know for what, but yeah. Yeah. Just tuned in. Are you talking about the Warhammer New Edition trailers? If not, what do you think about it? No, we were talking originally about the Ultramarine movie that Games Workshop did, like when was it, like 10 years ago or something like that. Yeah, one of the worst films done in human history. And about the Warhammer New Edition trailer, I really liked it. And okay, so I'm gonna go back to some of the things that I've been talking about before. So in general, I thought it was awesome, very nice. The only problem is that to me the style felt a little bit in the fashion of some of the, I don't know, more cartoonish approach of animated trailers, which remove the grim dark aspect. I mean, grim dark is not just having violence and you know, it's how you represent things. And on the trailer, things looks a little bit too much. Once again, I mean, I know that you just tuned in, so you haven't listening to the to what we were talking previously, but this is something that we've been discussing quite a lot on stream about how you translate in a realistic way the universe of Warhammer. And in my opinion, on those trailers, they fall a little bit into the trap of making things look a little bit too much like the miniatures, which of course it makes sense since it's a trailer for the tabletop game. So in my book, I can totally forgive it, and I think it's fine. The quality of everything was fantastic. It's just that the visualization of the universe, for me, it's a little bit too cartoony for my own taste. It's a little bit like more some type of style of animation more fitting for a League of Legends type of universe than the grim dark of 40k, in my opinion. So in that sense, I felt that it was more done in the fashion of what is popular right now in marketing and things like that. But to me, I think it kind of failed in that sense. But then from a technical point of view, fantastic, amazing work. Yeah, so it's more in terms of creative direction. That me as a fan, okay, I take, but brilliantly done. If you aside from that, it was great. What exactly? That's why I like Astartes so much. Nailed the realism for me. Yes, totally. Yes, exactly. It is. I mean, sorry for the rest of the chat because I'm repeating myself like a broken record about this. But yeah, I mean, in order to do a proper realistic representation of this universe, we cannot, or the people that are gonna be working on it cannot just literally translating and the designs and proportions from the tabletop miniature designs, because they don't work. They are just toys, weapons, characters, vehicles, everything. You need to redesign and adapt it to a format of realism. If not, things don't feel fitting to a grim dark universe, and that's the problem in that sense, right? That we are talking about a universe that is supposed to be very dark and serious. In that sense, is not yeah. And that's why, for instance, going back to the animated series that they are gonna do, if you decide to go with that's why to pick the right art direction is very important, because if you go with a cartoony style or stylize, you still can do something very grim dark and kind of how do you say in English, to And these type of issues with proportions and things like that can be forgiven because of the nature of the style that you are using. But if you go full rendition with 3D, as it happens with that trailer, or you do something of the quality of Astartes in that sense, or you are gonna fail. Yeah. So that's my take. And by the way, welcome to the stream. But I'm sadly I'm gonna finish now because it's already midnight here, and I'm very tired. All right, so I think we are gonna leave it here for today. It's been great fun. This is very, very much work in progress. There's a lot of things here that especially the hammer thing, I'm not sure at all if I want it to go in this direction. But yeah, I mean, it's fantastic to talk about these things with you guys. I really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate all your suggestions and ideas. And yeah, overall, also this design for Perturabo, I'm really digging it. I'm really enjoying it so far. Let's see, maybe I don't like it later on, but so for now, I think it has a lot of possibilities and can be very cool. So yes, hopefully next week I will be done with my renovations at home, and I might be streaming from my office, which would be kind of not ready, but yeah, so I might be somewhere different. Finger crossed. And yeah, I hope you the best. Stay healthy, have fun, take care of yourself, and see you next week. All right, take care. Thanks a lot for joining in, for all your ideas, and all of you are awesome. Bye bye, take care.